Good morning, everyone. The redevelopment, oh, yes, I like that. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Wow, we're in. This redevelopment agency meeting of May 1st, 2013 is called to order. The meeting has been properly noticed and posted in compliance with the open meeting law. These proceedings are being video recorded as well as presented live on KCLV, Cable Channel 2, and are closed captioned for our hearing impaired viewers. Please note some customers of Cox Communication who do not have a cable box may view this meeting on digital channel 89.5. The redevelopment agency meeting, as well as all other KCLV programming, may be viewed on the city's website, www.kclv.tv. The proceedings will be rebroadcast on KCLV Channel 2 and the web the Wednesday of the meeting at 8 p.m., also Friday 4 a.m., Saturday 7 p.m., Sunday at 7 a.m., and the following Monday 1 p.m. This building is protected by state-of-the-art fire detection and suppression sprinkler system. If alarms should activate during today's meeting, please evacuate using the exit at the back of the chambers out to the mezzanine. Proceed out the double doors to the terrace down the back staircase. For anyone who has difficulty with stairs, please check with our marshal or fire official for assistance. When outside, please assemble on the northeast corner across the street from City Hall at Lewis and First. Employees wearing safety vests or our city marshals will inform you when it's safe to re-enter the building. For public comment related to items on the agenda, citizen participation, and public hearing items, we have available a speaker card, which you may complete and submit to the city clerk. Cards are available online in the clerk's office or at the rear of these chambers. If you do not submit a card, it does not prevent you from speaking under the public comment, citizen participation, or specified public hearing items. If there's anyone present today who has need for hearing impaired equipment, please come forward and see our city clerk staff. If you parked in the parking garage across the street and did not receive a validation ticket as you entered chambers, please exit to your right and then see the security personnel at the entrance. We will move on to item number 3. Public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters on the agenda for action. The amount of time any single speaker is allowed may be limited. All comments made will be cross-referenced to those specific items. If anyone submitted a speaker card or who wishes to speak under this portion of the agenda, please come to the podium and state your name for the record. We will set the time for 1 minute. Anyone who does wish to come forward at this time, please do so. Seeing none, hearing none, we'll move on to item number 4. For possible action to approve the final minutes by reference of the regular redevelopment agency meeting of April 17, 2013, Mayor Pro Tem may I have a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Thank you. There's a motion. Please vote. And please post. Thank you. That motion carries. We'll move on to item 5. RA 16-2013, discussion for possible action regarding a resolution finding the project proposed by the Quick Start Program QSP agreement between the City of Las Vegas Redevelopment Agency, RDA, and Nicole Associates, LLC, owner and Downtown Hipster, LLC, tenant and QSP participant, located at 1017 South 1st Street, to be in compliance with and in furtherance of the goals and objectives of the redevelopment plan, and authorizing the execution of the QSP agreement by RDA, Redevelopment Area Ward 3. This is in Councilman Coffin's ward. This item is related to the Redevelopment Agency Item 6, RA 17-2013, and Council Item 48-R-27-2013 and 49-R-28-2013. Good morning, Mr. Arndt. Do you want me to read the next one, too?
Good morning, Mayor. Yes, please.
Thank you. Item number 6, this is agenda item 6, please. RA 17-2013, discussion for possible action regarding a resolution finding the project proposed by the Commercial Visual Improvement Program, that's CVIP agreement between the City of Las Vegas Redevelopment Agency, RDA, and Nicole, however it's pronounced, one or the other, we will find out, LLC owner, and Downtown Hipster LLC tenant and CVIP participant located at 1017 South First, to be in compliance with and the furtherance of the goals and objectives of the redevelopment plan, and authorizing the execution of the CVIP agreement by the RDA. This is in Redevelopment Area Ward 3, Councilman Coffin. This item is related to Redevelopment Agency Item 5, RA 16-2013, and Council Items 48, R 27-2013, and 49, R 28-2013. Yes, please.
Thank you. I would need to disclose at this time that I have some shared business interests with George Harris. I'm not involved in this particular project, but I am with him and others. Therefore, our city attorney has advised me that I must disclose that and abstain from joining this discussion or voting on the matter before us.
Thank you very much, Councilman Beers. Okay, Mr. Arndt, good morning.
Good morning, Mayor, members of the agency. For the record, Bill Arndt, Director, Economic and Urban Development. Item 5 and Item 6 are for some assistance from two of our programs to help businesses get into vacant storefronts, to improve both the interior of the property as well as the exterior. Item 5 is for a quick start agreement for the amount of $29,639 to help with improvements to ready the space in Arts Square in the Arts District at this property for a restaurant use. And in order to do that, the property owner and the tenant had a number of improvements to make, including upgrades to mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, a new hood system, as well as costs for water and sewer connection fees and permitting costs. The Quick Start program is designed to help a business renovate an interior to get it to today's code standards and to work with the property owner to try to mitigate any design changes that the property would need to bring it up to code. Item 6 is also for this business. It's for visual improvement to the exterior of the building, and this is the reason for using the overhead. This is part of our visual improvement program, or the exterior of the building, and the applicant is eligible for a $12,430 grant given improvements to the exterior, including a new facade and new signage and doors. And so on the overhead today is what will become is becoming Mingo's restaurant. So you see there the property and the what it looks like and what it will look like at the conclusion of all the work that's being done. This is, again, a really important part of what we're doing in redevelopment, improving the facades of business storefronts, but also helping business owners with practical help on navigating the code process, bringing these older commercial buildings up to today's building code standards. With us today is George Harris, representing the restaurant, and I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Harris to say a few words about what they're doing with the property, the restaurant, and would encourage Mr. Harris to announce to the public and viewing audience the hours of the restaurant, when it'll be open, and what folks can expect who want to dine there. Mr. Harris.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Your Honor. Good morning, Council. First, I'd like to thank Councilman Coffin, who has, my name is George Harris, Downtown Hipster LLC. I'm the owner of Mingo Kitchen and Lounge. I want to first thank Councilman Coffin and his aide, Felipe, who's probably took my number out of his phone. We are open. Mingo is officially open. We opened up a couple of days ago with a soft opening. Councilman Coffin was kind enough to come over with his wife and see the beginnings, and when he comes over now, he's going to see it with the mirrors and everything else up. This has been a long, arduous struggle, but we are very happy. We've created 23 jobs. Of those 23 jobs, 18 of those people have been out of work for more than a year, and they're all back to work full-time. We have a brand new kitchen. I'm happy to announce that the flooring in Mingo, which I want you all to go see, is a downtown company called Facilitech. They did our floor throughout the building. The kitchen equipment was bought from a Las Vegas company downtown, which is Resco Kitchen Supply. We used as many downtown local businesses as we could in developing and building our restaurant out. Our hours of operation are from 11 in the morning on the weekends to 3. During the week, we'll probably close around 12. This is American comfort food, so you get macaroni and cheese with truffles and sliders, and we have steak, and you got to come over and try the menu. The menu will grow. Right now, we have salads and we have some vegetarian dishes, so we encourage everyone to come over. First Friday is this Friday, so we know it's going to be busy. We are just very happy to be open. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. We're excited, looking forward to it, and what a propitious time to open before Friday. Great. We wish you good luck. Any questions? We'll go this way first. Any questions, comments? And it's
Your
not,
Honor,
so
I can speak, but anybody else
please.
can chime in. I just wanted to say, if viewers and those in the audience look at this, and gee, we're talking about a restaurant on an alley, right? And there's power poles, and there's transformers, and there's, you know, grease in the alley. Hey, guess what? This is industrial chic. This is Las Vegas. This is now the new. Get inside the wall and see something new all over downtown. And it speaks well for all of us. George, thank you for your persistence and also exposing some frailties in our system that I believe we will address at a later moment. And I think at the same time, congratulations to our building safety guys who for helping make this happen, and Economic and Urban Development for making sure that all of the enticements, enhancements were available for this business person, because here we have an old repurposed building. It was a garage, I think.
It was a garage.
Can you imagine that? Okay, you'll be having first-class dining, and of course, people are already looking at plays inside this garage. There's all kinds of things going on around there. But anyway, now that other members certainly may want to pipe up before we talk about motions.
I would like to ask, are you going to have outside dining there in that cute little patio? Outside dining?
We have outside dining now. It's part of the SUP. And if you haven't been down there, you need to go down and see this side. This is just a great transformation of this whole area. Of course, I'll be visiting each of you to try to get Nevada Power to help us get rid of the overhead power lines, which is going to be an impossible mission. But this thing, we have, there's the Art Square Theater. Within this Art Square, there's a 5,300 square foot outdoor garden patio. Then there's our restaurant, there's Vexed, there's 5 galleries, hopefully coming on soon, which is something we'll be announcing, we hope in the next 30 days, is a coffee shop that'll open up at 6 a.m. in the morning across from us. So we're very excited about the area and about how the transformation is taking place. I'm more excited about putting people back to work and actually getting a business that's going to, we think, be very successful and make a nice profit. And I wanted to thank Rich, where are you? Rich Atkins, who has helped me through this whole process, because he spent a lot of time with me filling out paperwork while I'm under construction, while I got people nipping at my heels. And the redevelopment agency has just been a pleasure. Of all the agencies that I've had to work with, they've gone out of their way to do everything they can to help us. So thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. I mean, we're really excited, and I've been down there when more ribbons were cut, and it's just really wonderful what's happened in the whole area. So we're delighted knowing that you have Mundo and the food's excellent. Can't imagine this will be anything but the best. So, Councilman Coffin?
Thank you, Your Honor. I move for approval of item 5, RA 16-2013.
Thank you. There's a motion. Please vote and please post. Motion passes. What color is the signage on the top when it's lit, the neon?
It's a white neon,
White.
white and black. It's really cool.
Great. Thank you. Good luck to you. The motion passes. We move
Can
on
we have
to
one more?
item number 6.
Bill. Oh, well, I could move if you consider the discussion to be the same for, but I think you need to narrow it down.
Separate
Bill.
vote for that.
Isn't, Bill, are you going to quickly mention for the record the amount of
Yes,
money on
thank
item
you,
6?
Councilman Bill Arndt. For the record, item 6 is for a visual improvement program grant of $12,430. This is for signage and doors, and the item is in order, and we recommend approval of item 6, approving $12,430 for the visual improvement program in the exterior of the building.
All right. Thank you, Your Honor. We'll have further, a short discussion on the council agenda as well on these two, Bill and George, if you choose to come back. Thank you very much. I now move for approval of item 6, RA-17-2013.
Thank you. This motion, please vote and please post. Thank you, and that motion also passes. Best of luck. Congratulations. Thank you.
You can put me down for a yes, please.
Okay, we'll now move on to item number 7, RA 18-2013, discussion for possible action regarding a resolution finding the project proposed by the Quick Start Program QSP agreement between City of Las Vegas Redevelopment Agency, RDA, and ProView Series LLC, owner and QSP participant, located 813 East Ogden, to be in compliance with and in furtherance of the goals and objectives of the redevelopment plan, and authorizing the execution of QSP agreement by the RDA Redevelopment Area Ward 3, Councilman Coffin. Note, this item is related to Council Item 50R-292013. And is this also related to item 8?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you, please.
Thank you, Mayor. This item is for the property at 813 East Ogden. The property owner is ProView Series LLC, and with us today is the property owner, Mr. Cameron Foulad. Cameron has bought a lot of property in downtown and made a lot of significant investments, including this property. This property may look familiar in that we previously, through your action, had approved a visual improvement program award to the property for $50,000. The property owner has made a significant investment in the property of approximately $430,000 into both the interior and exterior for the improvements. Today's action is for the interior through our Quick Start program, where the property owner is dealing with numerous code compliance issues, including fire alarm system and smoke detectors, HVAC system, installation of an elevator, ADA bathrooms, and associated permit fees for water and sewer connection, as well as site development permit fees. This is kind of the before shot, what the property had looked like. This is an artist rendering of what the property is going to look like afterwards. One of the interesting things about this project is that it's a new use, and this is really the intention of the Quick Start program, where a property owner or business owner is taking a building that was used for a different use and putting something in different. The former use was a motel, and our partner, Cameron, is looking to actually use the vacant motel to convert it to executive suites for entrepreneurs and startup businesses in the area. And we think that's a great use. With that, I'll turn it over to Cameron, let him make a few remarks. The Quick Start program is for $45,000 grant, and staff recommends approval.
Thank
Cameron?
you, Mr. Hart.
Good morning, Mayor. Good morning, Councilman. Bjorn has said
If you would, please, for the record, say your name. Thank you.
my name is Cameron Foulad. I'm the owner of ProView Series. As Bjorn said, this is an old, vacant, boarded up motel, which been boarded up for a while. Our intention is to convert it to affordable offices for a new entrepreneur. startup companies which are supported by Zappos are moving to the area. We thought that would fit that kind of use. It has 29 offices, can fit close to 60 to 70 people in there. It's going to be pavers and fountains, and it's going to be totally different than the other offices in downtown. It has a new look, new atmosphere. It's going to fit younger clients.
Thank you. Any questions from council? Okay, Councilman Coffin.
Thank you, Your Honor. Of course, this is in Ward 3 now, but a few months ago it was in Ward 5, and I know that 2 council offices worked with you, so I figured perhaps Councilman Barlow would like to, lead off either the praise, questions, and discussion.
Please. Morning.
Well, first and foremost, good morning. How much property do you own?
I'm the second property owner after Zappos.
After Zappos? So you own quite a bit of land in and around the downtown community.
That's correct, Your Honor.
In my opinion, you've been doing a very good job as far as taking a lot of the old and dilapidated buildings and coming back in and restoring them, and to really reactivate the downtown community, making it once again not only a livable but a viable area for residents and tourists to come back in and really enjoy themselves. And so I just really want to say thank you for
Thank you, Your Honor.
putting your money where your mouth is and really restoring a lot of these older buildings, making them look very retro and very and just very nice. And I support your efforts moving forward as it relates to all of the development projects that you have coming forward. And would also like to speak to you about some other opportunities in other areas of my ward as well. But we'll talk about that off the record. And,
I believe in downtown for many years, Your Honor.
Absolutely. And so this is now in Councilman Coffin's area, and it's something that I'm pretty sure he too is very proud of, as far as having an opportunity to have an area that once was blighted and now is starting to see the day of light. And it's a good day. It's a good day.
Thank you,
So,
Your Honor.
and it was a pleasure working with you as well. And I
Same
look
here.
forward to continuing to work with you.
Pleasure as well.
Councilman, please, Councilman Coffin.
Thank you, Mayor. Maybe other members have questions or comments, but I just wanted to say that 813 Ogden is a very important number. It is the edge of the ward. It is right on the north edge. And what that means is you'll always be working with 2 of us. And I think it's important to recognize that, most of the notions, most of the action in the newspapers and in around here has been south of Fremont and south of Fremont. We haven't had many new developments north of Fremont, like on Ogden and Stewart. This is an important thing to note because much more is going to be happening there. And so those folks who have invested in land there, I think, will be rewarded by their farsightedness. And also those who come to town, those who are moving to town for their businesses, will understand that there's more in the downtown area. That we talk just about south of that, but really there's much more north. Yes, Your Honor.
What is the timeline for the development?
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
What is the timeline?
It should be finished within 6 months, Your Honor.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you.
By the way, this is walking distance to Zappos offices, City Hall. It's about 3 blocks away. And regarding Fremont, we are very active on Fremont, Your Honor.
There you are.
You will see new development coming up.
There you
from
are.
our side.
Thank you very much
Thank
for
you,
being
Your Honor.
here. And maybe you'll stay for the full council meeting where we endorse what we do in redevelopment agency meeting. Bill, do you have anything to add before I make the motion?
No, Your Honor.
Okay.
We recommend approval. We think it's a great project, and we appreciate the partnership with Mr. Foulad and appreciate his investment in downtown.
Okay. Thank you very much, Your Honor. Then I will move now for adoption of item 7. That's RA 18-2013.
Thank you very much, Councilman. And there's a motion. Please vote and please post. Motion carries. Thank you very
Thank you, Your
much. It's
Honor.
beautiful. We look forward to it. Okay, we will move on to number 8, Agenda Item 8, RE 19-2013, discussion for possible action regarding a resolution finding the project proposed by the Commercial Visual Improvement Program, CVIP, agreement between the City of Las Vegas Redevelopment Agency, RDA, and T-Brio 2 LLC owner, and Project M LLC tenant and CVIP participant located at 106 South 6th to be in compliance with and in furtherance of the goals and objectives of the redevelopment plan and authorizing the execution of the CVIP agreement by the redevelopment area. This also is in Ward 3, Councilman Coffin. Note this item is related to Council Item 51, R30-2013. Mr. Art.
Thank you, Mayor. This applicant has been before you as well. They came before you previously for assistance with a quick start. This is for the visual improvement program, and the property and business is for La Comida. With me today is a representative of the business, Jenna Morton. This partner has done some wonderful things. They've taken what was a commercial laundry facility for the El Cortez, as you can see there in the before photo, and they've repurposed it for a wonderful restaurant that has just recently opened. It's worth noting that within this area and the surrounding area, we have, through our visual improvement program, assisted 12 business owners with exterior renovation or signage. And one of the ideas behind the visual improvement program is, rather than do one isolated building in an area of the city or downtown or the neighborhood surrounding downtown, can we make a series of investments that really redefine the neighborhood? We've done this in Fremont East Entertainment District. We're looking to do this elsewhere throughout the community in some of our older parts of our neighborhoods surrounding downtown. And we think the Entertainment District in this business is a wonderful example of that. The business owner does meet the requirements to be eligible for a $45,000 visual improvement program grant. One of the expenses that they have to do is they have to put in new neon signage and animated lighting within the district. And so this grant will help them with the exterior and with signage. Here are some photos that you can see of the property under construction. And this is a rendering of what it looks like. I don't know if we have a photo. I'm probably not going to do it justice.
Had I had more time, I would have provided a photo of today.
These are the renderings of what the signage looks like. This is, I think, a photo of the facade and some of the signage. But if you haven't been down there on 6th Street, it really is a wonderful addition to downtown. The restaurant is open. I know we are coming up on Cinco de Mayo, so curious to hear what's happening at the restaurant for those festivities. It has a big employment impact, too, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that it will have an impact of 32 full-time employees with all the restaurant staff and back of house. So we're excited to have La Comida as a partner. Appreciate the support of Jen and Michael Morton and the entire team that's worked on this project. With that, I'd like to turn it over to Ms. Morton for making a few comments, talk about the menu, hours of operation, and answer any questions you might have.
Great, thank you, Mr. Arndt. Welcome. And please do state your name, even though Mr. Arndt already said it.
My name is Jenna Morton.
And please tell us a little bit about what's going on there.
Well, I'm so excited to be here today because we are open, and I have a lot of gratitude to all of you and your teams for helping us get there. It's never happened for us before in almost 30 years of doing business. We opened early, and that was very exciting for us. So before I talk a little bit about the restaurant, I do want to say thank you to Rich Atkins, Bill Arendt, Chris Knight in the building department was just wonderful. Business licensing has been really great. I'm trying to think of whom I needed to thank also. Oh, Tom Burkhart and Dave Bratcher have been really helpful. All of your teams have been really great for us, and yeah, the end result is we opened a few days early, which we really needed to do because it's First Friday and Cinco de Mayo on the same weekend. We're a Mexican restaurant, so we needed a few extra days to be prepared, and also we were maybe a little unprepared for the anticipation of our opening, because the day we opened, about 10 minutes before we opened at 11:30, there were people waiting outside to come in. The doors opened, and we were full within 10 minutes.
Isn't that
So it was
great?
just wonderful. We've been welcomed so nicely in the downtown area. We're thrilled to be down here. It is very exciting. So we are a Mexican restaurant. You can see our monkey. There may be a contest to name the monkey because he's become very popular and has gone viral. So we're not quite sure what he should be called. Some of the suggestions have been quite clever and maybe some slightly inappropriate. But I do welcome you to come down. I know last time I was here, I was tempting you with some ideas that are on the menu, but I have to say I'm a little tired because I've been there late every night, and last night I had the puerco ahumado, which is a smoked pork shoulder that has this adobada sauce that has, oh gosh, it's kind of like a mole. It's got about 27 ingredients, and it's just delicious, but the smoked pork is incredible. And the signature dish so far is this michote chicken. It's baked in a paper bag, and it has a mole sauce that also has 1 million ingredients and is just, well, I know it's early, but you're welcome to come join us later today. So we are open from more or less 11 a.m. until whatever the market will bear in the evening. It's been generally around between 11 and 12 in the evening. On the weekends, we've stayed open later. It seems that people leaving Commonwealth are hungry for a taco around 1 a.m., so we're trying to accommodate those folks. Yes, we have more tequilas than seats. I think that's the key for everyone wanting to come down. And do you have any questions?
Any indoor, outdoor? I mean,
Yes,
outdoor?
we have, thank you for asking. We have an outdoor patio, and our tables on the front of the building, I'm eager for you to come and see it, were painted by a local mural designer, mural artist, brought in 4 other artists to paint the tables out front, and they're really cool. And also, really important, our official grand opening, to which you all will be invited, and Mrs. Mayor, I know you've committed to being there, and Councilman Coffin, I believe you have too, is on the 15th, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So we hope by then we're really hitting on all cylinders. We're doing quite well already. I think we did over 450 covers on Friday. Yeah, really incredible. So we're really thrilled, and I actually was, sort of as we were building, watching bank accounts shrink, and then I saw some numbers in the green yesterday. So we're doing.
I hope your
fine.
husband's learning from you.
He does all right.
I think we have some questions here. Councilman Barlow?
Great job, and you opened early.
Yes, we did.
Which is great.
Yeah.
The question that I had for you all the last time that you were before us was the issue of the alley.
Yes.
Because I know your entrance came in off of the alley. That still exists, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so your outdoor patio will be on the, what is that, 6th Street?
Yes, we're on 6th Street on the south side of the building.
Right.
I mean, on the east side of the building, pardon me.
And so what have you all done as far as to address the concerns of the dumpsters that, I know those dumpsters that are west of you, are those your dumpsters, or
So-
those are your adjacent property owners' dumpsters?
There are a series of dumpsters. We do have dumpsters there now, and actually we are exploring the idea of perhaps sharing dumpsters. It's a possibility. We're not sure if it's going to work, but we're going to try to do that because there would be less dumpsters in the alley. As of right now, our dumpsters are lined up on the west side of the alley, and we are committed to keeping the alley spotless, and I've actually taken...
On the west side or the north or the south?
On the south side. I'm a little too interrupted. On the south side of the building. And our neighbors, we've kind of all come together to commit to keeping that alley clean. I'll tell you, right prior to opening, my son came down and swept the sidewalk in the alley. I said, get a broom. If you've been down there, come down and take a look. It looks really beautiful now. And
Yeah, I'll take a
our
look
team is
today.
committed to keeping it clean and kind of setting an example
Right.
for our neighbors so that we all work together, but so far, so good.
So let me ask you this. So Republic Services come through the alley with the front loaders?
Yes.
To pick up those dumpsters?
Yep.
And they
there's
come, what, in the
plenty of
early
room.
mornings or the late evenings?
You know, I have not been on premises when I have been watching for them but we literally received our dumpsters about a week ago, so.
Okay.
And we opened for business on Thursday, so I have not paid attention to when they arrive, but I can find out for you.
Yeah. I'm just trying to head off the smell
Oh.
of when I last came through there. Wanted to
boy.
make sure that they're clean, and specifically more so concerned for your business because your entrance is off of the alley, and that's why I'm concerned about it.
Yes, so like I said, so far so good. It's really spotless. It looks
Okay.
quite lovely. And we also are working with the neighbors to be sure that we keep our dumpsters closed and actually locked so that they're
Right.
not used by others. And the restaurant on it's sort of our backside, but on Fremont Street, Latai,
Right.
we're also recycling. So it sort of reduces the amount of garbage that we produce. So we have recycling dumpsters also. So most of our paper materials are going into the recycling dumpsters. And
Well, I'm glad to have you downtown. I mean, having more eateries in the downtown area is great because it gives us more options to choose from for those of us that travel in and around the downtown community. And so, welcome, and you have a very beautiful facility. I haven't had an opportunity as of yet to, of course, come in and visit you, and so I'm looking forward to coming in during lunchtime
Thank you.
this week or next to get a feel for the food there. And so,
You'll love it.
welcome to downtown, and I'm sure that you all are going to be a great success here, specifically as we continue to bring more businesses online in the downtown community. Thank you.
Thank you. And
Council- I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry. I would like to mention also, the Quick Start and the VIP program, it's really important to me that you know that those were key in our making a choice to participate in downtown. They really helped offset some of the costs of the work that we've done on this property, and so I think that those programs are essential to the development of downtown and really been beneficial to us.
Thank you. Councilman Ross.
I'd just like to make a motion, Mayor, that we adjourn and head over there real quick.
Come on down.
Ms. Morton, how, do you take reservations? I mean, are you getting that popular that fast? Do you need reservations?
We do take reservations in the evening. We don't take reservations at lunchtime. It's sort of, you all have experienced lunch downtown. It's sort of a quick process. So we don't take reservations at lunch, but we do take reservations in the evening, and I recommend them. Last night was probably the first night that you would not have needed a reservation.
Wow. How many does your restaurant seat?
We have 80 seats inside, 24 seats on the patio, and 15 bar seats. So I think
Wonderful.
I don't know.
Well, my wife has already texted me that we're going to eat at your restaurant very soon, so she's watching this at home. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions here? Councilman Coffin.
Thank you, Your Honor. We will have a short discussion on this at council meeting, Jenna, so you're welcome to come back. But if you're preparing the mole, then we want you to stay down there. Some people who are onlookers perhaps might wonder why we would be granting this to a business which has opened already, because sometimes it's to help you get open. But in your case, we had made a commitment to you to do this, and you had advanced your construction schedule in accordance with that and finished way ahead of government time. So therefore, we still will do this. And of course, Councilman Barlow still has separation anxiety from this, having been Ward 5. And he's worried about the alley. Okay. So we could call it Barlow's Alley and require that he come down for food and inspection at least once a week for he and his family. I won't make that part of the motion. That's understood. Thank you, Your Honor. And now I move for adoption of item 8, RA-19-2013.
Is that to include Barlow's Alley, the renaming?
We'll have to take that up with the owners.
Okay. We are the owner of the alley.
Oh, then okay.
Okay.
Fine.
Thank you. There's a motion. Please vote. And please post.
Thank you very much. And I do want to say that we opened early partially because of your team. So it wasn't just our construction schedule.
We
You guys
do
were
have great staff.
very
Your
helpful.
Honor.
Yes, we do. Thank you,
Your Honor,
Councilman.
Mary and I were on our way to an early dinner at Radio City Pizza Friday and before theater, and then, by golly, we walked right by La Comida, and it's wide open, and Mike McNolan's at a table surrounded by El Cortez guys, and they're all waving, and they're all having a good time. I didn't even know you were open, so that just shows you how quick you can do it. So, again, thank you, Your Honor. Okay.
Thank you. Congratulations. We're
Thank you very
so
much.
delighted.
Thank you.
And we will move on now to public hearing regarding proposed amendment to the City of Las Vegas redevelopment plan downtown area. This is Wards 3. These are Wards 3 and 5, Councilman Coffin and Barlow, and this is a public hearing which I declare open. Mr. Arndt, please.
Thank you, Mayor. This item is for a proposed amendment to the redevelopment plan area, which we're now calling Plan Area A, which is the original redevelopment area for the City of Las Vegas, which started in 1986. As you may know, we've expanded it several times in the past. We've expanded it 4 times to include acreage throughout the greater downtown area, not just the downtown core, but neighborhoods surrounding downtown, including neighborhoods in West Las Vegas, as well as neighborhoods in East Las Vegas, or just east of the downtown area. This proposed amendment and this action today is really the first step in restarting the process, looking at this area and trying to figure out how can we enhance development opportunities, commercial development opportunities with private partners throughout our downtown area and neighborhoods around the downtown area so that we're not leaving anyone behind. So we can make sure that everyone in the community has an opportunity to partake in redevelopment, to partake in access to resources of the agency to try to make projects work. And so what you see here is on the overhead is a map which includes a lot of different areas that are labeled projects. And that's a bit of a misnomer in that we don't have a set project for each of these areas or squares. It's really simply meant to be a tool to help the community understand the exact parcels that we're adding and we're proposing to add to the area. We did an extensive survey looking at all the areas, looking at the levels that would meet the requirements of redevelopment, and given the survey of all the parcels, we looked at and we're recommending today and forward to the Planning Commission for Ward 3, there are 298 parcels, which total 205 acres. And then in Ward 5, we have 644 parcels totaling 334 acres, or in total 539 acres. That sounds like a lot of acreage, but when you look at the existing redevelopment area for Area 1, the downtown redevelopment area, we have over 3,900 acres. So it's really trying to fill in the blanks for where did we miss, where maybe there are new commercial development opportunities where we want to make commercial development and private investment work in these areas. And so that's really the purpose of this. This plan amendment is looking at amending and adding these areas into the redevelopment area. I'm going to thumb through a few maps that we have looking at these areas in detail. I know that on your screen, or perhaps even on the overhead screens, this may not be real easy to see. We do have boards here in the chambers. Should anyone who is here, who owns property, who lives in these areas, who has interest in the areas, want to see exactly the areas we're talking about. We did post as a public notice each parcel number, but it's still kind of hard to see how all the pieces fit together and where the individual parcels are. So these are some of the areas in Ward 3 that we're looking at, which includes acreage along East Charleston as well as acreage along East Sahara. And all of the parcels that you see highlighted there in red are some of the parcels that we're proposing to add. For Ward 5, again, this is showing the area where we have some area between the Bonanza Corridor and moving northward up towards Vegas Owens. There are a lot of parcels in there that currently are not within redevelopment area. One of the significant things to mention in terms of why we're adding some of these areas into redevelopment is that redevelopment law guides us to spend redevelopment dollars from the area itself. So we either have to spend it directly in the redevelopment area, spend every dollar in those areas, or we have to make a rational nexus. We think the best argument is these redevelopment dollars are being paid by the property owners in the area itself, and it makes sense to have a requirement that we reinvest those dollars back into the area. So if we're not able to add these parcels into the area, then that will mean that this resource, redevelopment agency dollars, won't be a resource to invest in the area. So that's why we've added a lot of areas, including area F, E, G, H, and I, and those parcels in red are highlighted as parcels that we see are potential development opportunities. One of the important things to mention on this is that by adding land into the redevelopment area, that does not dictate what a private property owner does with his or her property. The property, simply by adding it into the redevelopment area, what happens is the redevelopment, the property itself gets a new tax district label. The tax liability is exactly the same, whether you're inside or out, you pay the same property taxes. With this amendment, we're not proposing to change the land use, which is different than the amendment we did for the new area, Area 2 in Ward 1, heading west of downtown along West Charleston, West Sahara, and North Decatur. We are not proposing to change the land use. So whatever land use a property owner enjoys today, whether a parcel is added or a parcel is not, the land use won't change. Why is that important? It means that I, as a property owner, will be able to do the same things tomorrow if the property is added that I can do today. Another important point to mention is that we do have a process where if a property owner, for whatever reason, after hearing the benefits of redevelopment, does not want to be included in a redevelopment area, we have what we would label or describe as an opt-out process, meaning we're not trying to make this a mandate without having buy-in from the community. So if a property owner of any of these parcels or properties does not want to be included in the redevelopment area, there is a process to do that. And that process is fairly simple. You contact our office, send us something in writing. It can be as short as a couple sentences or one paragraph asking for your property to be removed from the proposed expansion and the proposed plan amendment. And then we will do that through this process where we will actually, parcel by parcel, for folks that do not want to be included, remove them. If I could go to the overhead, I wanted to show you what we're doing today in the specific action and make sure everyone in the community, as well as the listening audience, understands that today's action really is a restart of a process where we started about 2.5 years ago looking at this area, possibly amending our redevelopment plan to add some of these parcels into the area. We paused. We had a lot of community meetings, a lot of good dialogue, a lot of questions and answers about what redevelopment is, what it's not. And this public hearing is actually the first of 3 public hearings. So the community will have a lot of opportunity to provide input to staff, a lot of opportunity to provide input to the agency board. And I want to put that schedule over the overhead and just touch on it real briefly. So as we zoom in on this, this is essentially the process start to finish. And today's action is item 1, which is a recommendation to the Planning Commission to amend the redevelopment agency plan for this area. What it's involved with that and some of the backup that's in your backup is there's a preliminary plan which basically describes what we do with redevelopment and how we spend the resources, how we manage the resources of the agency. That's very similar to the existing plan, so we're not proposing any major changes. There's an amended redevelopment plan itself, and then a legal description of each parcel. I wanted to show this schedule because the future meeting dates are tentative, subject to getting scheduled on a public agenda, and so those dates are a little bit fluid, but I wanted to show you that in addition to the Planning Commission, which is a public meeting, we have a public hearing back again at City Council, approving these changes, an amended plan with a map of the expansion areas, a full report to the council on the final redevelopment plan, and then finally another public hearing, which is basically going through the city's ordinance process to adopt the redevelopment plan together with the legal description of these parcels. There is a little bit of time gap, and I think a wonderful opportunity, whether in a formal or informal process, for our team at Economic Development to work with the community, make sure everyone in the community understands exactly what we're doing, why we're doing it, and how it can benefit the community between today's action and the next public hearing, which, because of going through the Planning Commission and then back to Council, will be about 2 months out. So we welcome all input, all questions. We have a wonderful team at my office that can answer any questions of the community. With the direction of the board here today, we're also open to having formal dialogue in community meetings and neighborhood meetings to talk about what this is and why it's so important. And again, why it's so important is that this is one of the few resources that we have to help spur new private investment, new commercial development, which will lead to new private investment and new jobs. We heard from 2 restaurants today. People kind of maybe forget to think about all the employment that's generated at a restaurant. We had 50-plus employees just from those 2 restaurants that are being engaged and employed in the community. So those are the kinds of opportunities, not just the large-scale projects, but all the projects that we can get going, whether it's restaurants, retail, new office, new commercial businesses and industrial-oriented businesses. But again, this is an opportunity to direct those resources into the community and into parts of the community that we've been unable to do so in the past. With that, I'd like to turn it back to the board to resume the public hearing process, and I'd be glad to answer any questions now or after we've heard any questions from the public.
What I'd like to do, thank you, Mr. Arndt, is first go to council for any pertinent questions first, then we'll go to back to the public, and then back to council. So please, Councilman Barlow.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Arndt, and thank you for the presentation here today. This has been a long time coming. I can recall back to 2001, 2004, 2006, working on staff under Commissioner Weekly at the time when we went through the expansion of the redevelopment area. And a lot of residents at the time didn't quite understand it as far as the benefits of the redevelopment area and how, in fact, it was a tool that could benefit the community, specifically older communities who lack the opportunity for development or private investment to come into the area. And a lot of residents at that time opted out, and unfortunately they saw a lot of development take place around the community versus in the community, and stood back and wondered why isn't anything happening in our area. And the more we tried to educate them, the more they understood it as far as the benefits there is. And so we had approximately within the last 12 to 18 months, approximately 6 to 7, maybe 8 meetings throughout the historical West Las Vegas community as far as teeing up the conversation as it relates to the expansion of the redevelopment area. And so I'm excited to see a number of residents here today so that we can continue to have those conversations and continue to educate all of the residents as far as the benefits of being within the redevelopment area and the dollars that come with it from an economic development standpoint, such as roadways and beautification projects and incentives for businesses, local mom and pop shops to take advantage of the dollars that are available to them through the redevelopment area, only unless they are in the redevelopment area, not outside. And so the area that you pointed out, if we can go back to the overhead, as far as I believe it was one of the projects, can we back up and go back to the overhead? Post it on my screen here. Project F, Commissioner Weekly and I would call this the donut hole, I should say, the donut hole, because everything around pretty much West Las Vegas was in the redevelopment area, but the donut hole. In the donut hole, the fill, if you will, the cream was the area that was not afforded redevelopment dollars because it was not in the redevelopment area. And as you can see, all of downtown has basically been set on fire and has been taking advantage of the redevelopment dollars because those areas opted to be in. And so I understand the level of concern for the most part for a lot of the residents, specifically the older residents that live in this area or do business in this area or worship in this area, as far as, you know, wondering if in fact the city is going to come and take their land, whether it be through eminent domain and the like. But that's not the case. Ever since the establishment of the redevelopment, the redevelopment agency, have we taken anyone's land through eminent domain?
Councilman, I'm going to refer back to a recent ordinance that the council passed not too long ago. I don't have the ordinance in front of me. I
Correct.
believe my team does, but we actually adopted an ordinance, I believe, in 2006? 83. In 2006, where the board at that time declared its intent to not use eminent domain for a private-to-private taking. We did do eminent domain back towards the inception of the agency. Mr. Jerbick is intimately familiar with those instances. It's my belief at staff that that's a tool today that's really not needed.
Correct.
That
But-
you saw a lot of the wonderful private projects on private property,
Correct.
sponsored by private owners, that is taking place. So that ordinance that has been previously adopted by a prior board is still active today.
Correct.
We've adhered to that policy. We have not used eminent domain since that ordinance was adopted, and we haven't used eminent domain since the very early years where we did use it in two notable cases.
Correct. And the reason I bring that forward is to draw the next question, which is, was it residential property or was it commercial property as far as the tool of eminent domain?
Well, I'm going to, Mr. Jerbick's more familiar with those cases than I, so with Brad's indulgence, I'm going to turn it over to the City Attorney Jerbick.
Thank you.
Who can explain those two uses and maybe give us the date or the approximate date to show how much time has lapsed since that time.
Yeah,
Thank you, and would you, Mr. Jerbick, also mention when that happened, in what years that that eminent domain issue was taken?
I'll be
Thank
glad
you.
to. Nothing makes me happier than to talk about this. In 1994-95, the City Council and the Fremont Street Experience agreed to put together the project that we now know as the Fremont Street Experience. During that time, eminent domain was used to condemn property for the parking garage, formerly known as the Red Parking Garage. That was about 1995. Before that, the agency had used condemnation for what is now known as the Charleston Plaza Mall. We condemned some leasehold interests in addition to some underlying fee interests. As a result of those condemnations, a number of lawsuits were filed. They led to protracted litigation, which was finally resolved in the city's favor, but it took about 12 years before we got to the end of it. So I would tend to agree that the board's decision in 2006 was a wise decision, in my opinion, that if it's going to take you 12 years to get something through the court system, it's probably not worth doing. And
That's
so
correct.
we haven't used eminent domain, and it's been our recommendation to not use it, even though it technically is a power that's on the books.
So,
And that it, oh, excuse me.
I'm sorry, Mayor.
No, just quickly, and it is I think, the feeling of this entire board as well, this council, that we would follow the ordinance as is in place, and there hasn't been any private-to-private condemnation.
And, Mayor and Councilman Barlow, with your indulgence, I just wanted to state the resolution that is on the record today that's still in effect. It's Resolution R-83-2006, which was adopted on October 18th of 2006. And I'll just read the concluding paragraph. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Las Vegas that the policy of the city is not to use eminent domain to take private property without the consent of the owner for purposes of transfer or lease to another for a private commercial enterprise. So that's the ordinance that is on the books today, and that's the policy that we've been following now for over 6.5 years and have not used eminent domain since those early cases.
And I think, obviously, with the support of this council, continuing in that venture. Councilman?
And Mayor, I do have some copies. I don't know if there are enough copies for everyone in the audience here today, but if anyone here wants to see that copy of that resolution, it's just one page. I have some copies.
And I'll be happy to provide anyone that would like a copy of that as well. I can provide that through my office as well. So the point that I was trying to drive home is, what was that, 1996? When was the garage? When was the garage,
Yes,
Brad?
2006 resolution.
No, not the resolution, the big red garage.
Well, the big red garage about mid-90s, 95, I think.
95, 96. And in 2006, this council created an ordinance and approved an ordinance basically stating that we would not utilize that tool as far as eminent domain to basically address the concerns of a lot of specifically residential, or I should say residents that came in and spoke to the council during that period of time, which I think is the right thing to do because it really puts to bed a lot of the anxiety as far as residents are concerned, as far as big government coming in and taking their property. But in essence, the tool doesn't work as effective from the standpoint of the many countless lawsuits versus the value of the land in which more than likely the city would have taken. You know, just in attorney fees alone, that can ramp up into the millions, and the property that one could take could possibly be $70,000, $80,000, $100,000, which basically turns the value upside down. And so it's a very strong tool that I still stand behind because a lot of residents who have, broke their backs to pay for their properties and live in the community want to make sure that they have a level of comfort knowing that their property is their property. But at the same time, understanding that the redevelopment tool through the redevelopment agency has an opportunity to help restore and bring their communities up to a standard livable level that they can once again enjoy as far as a lot of the dollars that can come into the community to really master plan a lot of the streetscapes, such as what we're doing on D Street and the Martin Luther King corridor. And so it basically works to the community's favor in that respect. Can you speak to that, Mr. Arndt?
Certainly. So the premise
From the benefit side.
Yes. So the benefit side is essentially we have a resource for reinvesting into capital projects, whether it be something as straightforward as improving a business storefront that maybe a business owner is in need of sprucing up the exterior of the building, wants to do new paint, maybe new landscaping, new parking lot, and the owner's dollars only stretch so far. We can come in and participate directly like we do with our visual improvement program or our Quick Start program. The other ways you mentioned, we can put money into physical infrastructure. It's everything from street beautification, landscaping, pedestrian enhancement, bike lanes, those kinds of things. We're contributing dollars to the D Street Improvement Project that's being managed by Public Works, yet their dollars only go so far. So coupled with our dollars, we can do a much bigger project, and private business wants to invest where the public sectors invest. So
Absolutely.
Having those investments and those larger investments is really important. So when a prospective business, whether it be a Dollar General looking to go to Enterprise Park, or some businesses and small shops maybe wanting to open up on D Street, they want to know that the city is there with them and investing. And certainly we do have public works programs, and we do put money into roads and into parks and into streets, but that money only goes so far. The other important thing is that A little goes a long way. I talked about those 12 facade grants that we did in the entertainment district. We'd like to do that in other parts of the community. We're looking at some of the areas in West Las Vegas, some of the areas in East Las Vegas, and to have redevelopment go for a while for, say, a quarter mile, half mile along a street, and then stop. Our money gets invested along that corridor and then stops. So having it be contiguous, so if we do a streetscape project, it's contiguous straight through throughout the community. That's really important. So again, the upside is we're taking, basically set-asiding money from some of the property taxes that are being directed to the agency, and then by law, by mandate, we have to reinvest it in this area. One of the other benefits is we can spend money anywhere from then this entire area, which I don't know that it shows up very well on the overhead, but anywhere in the light blue in the shaded areas, which is the redevelopment area, and we can actually spend $1 in downtown out into one of the commercial corridors in the neighborhoods, whether it be the Martin Luther King corridor, East Sahara. So the success of downtown can actually benefit the neighborhoods by actually increasing the amount of money and resources that we have on an annual basis to be able to budget for these communities. We budgeted $4 million for a variety of improvements in West Las Vegas, as you're aware of, including D Street, including historic West Side School. If we didn't have that money coming in from downtown and money coming into the agency, we might not have been able to do that. So we're trying to strategically invest this money. Ultimately, it depends on, we need private partners. We need everyone from someone that owns a big stretch of land, whether it be Edmond Town Center, Nucleus Plaza, shopping centers on the east side of town, to that individual shopkeeper that is running a store, and they just need a little bit of help. They need to know that the city's there to help them. These resources are there to help. Again, if you're not in the area and if there's not a direct tie to redevelopment, we cannot take those dollars and spend those dollars on those properties.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. Anybody else comments? This is a public hearing. Anyone who wishes to address this item, please come forward. Be sure to state your name, too. And there's a microphone right over there. Make sure the red light's on, please.
William McCurdy.
Good morning.
I am a lifelong resident of West Las Vegas, part of 1312 North End LLC, which is controlled by Gregory McCurdy. I'm a 1/5 partner in that LLC. I'm very glad they stole my thunder, because I was going to remind the citizens of the 2006 ordinance resolution that you passed, Resolution 83, but that was so well explained, so I don't have to go through that scenario. But I like to say that since I was allowed to serve in several areas in the city of Las Vegas, from the Las Vegas 2020 Board, which is the master planning for the city of Las Vegas, that Mayor Oscar Goodman appointed me to that board at that particular time when he became mayor. But I'm very happy to see that all of the interests have been put into West Las Vegas to bring a quality of life to improve our community. A lot of people was misconstrued about the redevelopment portion and of this land being added to this plan. But I have informed special ones who came to me complaining about the city wanting to take the land for their own private use through intimate domain. But I have to say that I have to stand in support of this adoption, because I'm well aware of the dollars that it can bring to our community. Only thing I'm really kind of disappointed that it did not come from the south side of Owens, where my church is located at, but it stops the south side of Gold Avenue, where we have lived there and grew up in 1305 Gold Avenue for practically all my life. So it did take up that portion, but I would like to say that I realize that all of the money that have been received, or a lot of portion of money been received through the city of Las Vegas from the federal government have always been used, West Las Vegas has always been used to get that money. But I'm very happy to see that the city and this council is very much interested in trying to redevelop our area, and I realize that we could get possible money for housing, frontage, housing assistance to bring housing up to city codes. So therefore, I have to be in support of that. I do not see a negatively impact that I would have to inform the Church of God in Christ, which I represent, to make sure that there's no city ordinance and no resolution will affect the churches. Because if you're going to upheave with that resolution 83, it would not negatively affect our church. But
Thank you.
our bishop is here, and if he have any reservations, he can speak for himself.
Thank you.
But as my position, who represent the church, that does not negatively affect the church, but I think it would enhance our churches because we do have several churches in that particular portion of the redevelopment plan.
Thank you very
So I'd
much.
like to support that and go on record supporting that, because I don't feel that you're going to take our property that we have owned all our life to turn into intimate domain or to further improve the community.
Thank you very much. It is an ordinance. We're all supportive of it. So thank you, Mr. McCurdy. Anyone else, please step forward, state your name.
My name is Robbie L. Hambrick. I live at 603 West Adams Street in Las Vegas, the corner of F Street. And under the direction of the F Street Advisory Board and the redevelopment plan that you have, I think it's very good. But we are requesting no change and nothing to Ward 5 plan, which is unacceptable to us. We would like to see the master plan and how these funds will be used as soon as possible. I also speak for the veteran. I'm a veteran of 3 wars and the Medal of Honor. We just completed a documentary concerning something they asked a question last week in South Carolina. A many veteran wants to move to this particular area, and I have many formed questions from the Pacific Fleet in San Diego and also from the new VA hospital. I get a lot of questions when I'm out there, and I would like to have that report for that as soon as I possibly can.
Thank you very much. And I think from Mr. Arndt's commentary and certainly from the support of this council, this is going to be a dialogue with the community as we move forward. And I think Mr. Arndt specified exactly there will be neighborhood meetings and a lot of input. So it's our community working together to in this area, and I think the only outcome is going to be terrific. And we are protected by that ordinance.
Yes.
So thank you, and thank you for your service to our country.
Thank you, Mayor.
You look very
Thank
good.
the
It's a
council.
recommendation for everybody to go into service. If they could all look as good as you do. I think
Thank
I'm
you
going to
very
send
much.
Oscar right away.
Yeah. I will do it again just for you.
Oh. Thank you. Please state your name. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Pastor Teresa Hatcher, Hatcher Heller Christian Ministries, and I'm a real estate broker here in Las Vegas, Levite Realty, and I'm the owner of 900 F Street on the corner of F and Washington. And I'm glad to be here this morning. I'm glad to see the redevelopment come forward. I never even knew it was in the works, but I'm happy about it. And one of the things I want to mention is that I hope that none of us opt out, that all of us do the same thing and stay together on the project, so that since the question of eminent domain has been put to rest, we should be able to go forward and, take advantage of what the city is proposing for our community. And I'm really happy about it, excited about it, and hope. And I didn't understand redevelopment. I'm just beginning to understand it a little more just being in this meeting. So I've went to the city many times over the years to try to do something, and one of the biggest things that what I want to say, the reason we could not go forward mostly was because of finances, and that's always has been an issue. And we are grateful to know that the city has such things as grants. We didn't know anything about that, never heard of it. I see, I have heard of grants, but I didn't know that grants were helping business get going and what have you. Every time I've gone to the city, not every time, but most of the times, I've kind of got, no. We don't want to do that, you can't do that, go away. So hopefully now that will be changing. Now, are we in the redevelopment program, or are we thinking about getting into the redevelopment program as far as this community that we're in? You understand the question?
Yes, ma'am. Is it Pastor Hatcher?
Huh?
Pastor Hatcher?
Pastor Hatcher, that's
Hatcher.
it.
Good morning. Currently, your property is not. And in whole, because at the time back in 2004, between 2004 and 2006, residents came to Commissioner Weekly at that time and basically opted to be out. So when you made the statement that you had no idea as far as what the benefits or what you could have tapped into the city to assist your property, well, you couldn't have tapped into that source because at that time a lot of residents tapped or opted out not to participate in the redevelopment area. So those monies were basically being used all around, in and around the downtown area and throughout specific areas such as the Owens Corridor as well as the Enterprise Park as far as the funds. And a lot of residents were like, well, why can't we do anything down this street? Why aren't you doing anything down that street? Because residents opted out
Okay, so
not
you
to
had,
participate. So let me just finish so I
Okay.
can explain. So by opting in, now we have an opportunity to have monies available for everyone that's opted in to participate within the redevelopment agency as far as the benefits, being that the major concern back at that time was eminent domain, that residents were very concerned about. Fearful. As far as the city coming in and taking property. That's not what we're trying to do. We don't want to do that. We want to work with you as a property owner, as a business owner, and basically also let you know that there's additional incentive as far as financial incentive to help you develop your project, to help you develop what it is that you're looking to accomplish with your parcel of land. We want to be a partner. We don't want to come in and take. We want to be able to come in and give through that incentive. And so today, you asked if you're currently in the redevelopment area today. No, you're not. That's what we're doing as far as this first meeting here today, to basically put it out for the community to get a level of understanding and start to really understand the auspices of the redevelopment area and the redevelopment agency through additional meetings throughout the year. So the community will have an opportunity to have a number of bites at the apple to determine by the August-September date whether they want to be a part of the expansion of the redevelopment area or once again choose to opt out. So this is just day one of many more meetings to come.
And how many people does it take to opt out?
If you don't want your property in, you just basically send.
No, because I wasn't at that meeting. I never heard of that meeting. Okay, so.
Well, I mean, that was years ago.
Okay.
I'm talking as far as, I'm talking as far as this coming August and September when it comes back before this council for a final vote as to who's going to be a part of the expanded redevelopment area.
And that's 2013?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And
All right.
Pastor, if I might, just very briefly, those funds that have been made available through the city, the VIP, the visual improvement, and the Quick Start, they're relatively new, but they are for redevelopment area approved places. So the funding is somewhat limited at this time because we just don't have tons. But at the time, we are right now starting this conversation to include what you saw up there in the red squares. It's the beginning piece of it all. And so the most important thing is to be informed, and the ordinance of 2006 about eminent domain, that is to bed. That is to bed. And what needs to happen is to communicate to the people everywhere that this isn't about private-to-private seizure of property. This is about building a quality of life here everywhere, but most specifically in the redevelopment area. Conversation as we move forward. So you will certainly be notified, and you certainly need to go up on the website, but it is public, that when we're having these meetings, so to make sure that you come and those that are interested, because I think people get upset and angry when they don't understand. And the key is, when you do understand, which you do, that you communicate it to others. And the reality, this is just nothing but a good thing going to be happening as the conversation goes forward.
Right.
And we welcome your participation. Hopefully you'll be at the meetings.
Oh, yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay, you're
Thank you
welcome.
so much, Pastor. Please come forward, state your name.
Hello, council members. I'm Herman L. Moody, and I represent the Magnolia Moody Trust that has 4 parcels in this designated area. Now, over the years, I have attended meetings that were at Doolittle that talked about redevelopment, and we noticed at that time, or in recent years, we noticed at that time, especially when there was discussions regarding the F Street and D Street situation, that this Project F was affected by, F and D Street situation. But we noticed that at that time you had disenfranchised us out of the redevelopment plan, which is curious because historically, if you go back and people have said they opted out, there were reasons for that, and I think there are still reasons. We received a packet in the mail that we had to sign for that provided basically no information other than a map and parcel numbers. It provided no details. Matter of fact, it's one-sided pages. You could have taken information off of your website that detailed the intent of the program and added it to and make this two-sided information so that members of the community who weren't able to come would be able to have read this and see what ideas and what your mission was and how you plan to propose to go about implementing this plan if they opt in or out, which was not clarified in anything that was sent to the community members. So the first part of communication is to make sure that information provides information and details and specifics of what you plan to do with those areas. You talk about a benefit. I have yet to see the specifics of what the benefit would be to this, especially Project F community. That's completely residential. So, or how commercially it would be implied. Now, on item number 7 off of your detail pages for your redevelopment plan, you talk about Blythe community. You talk about being able to access a person's property based on the condition of the property. So yes, eminent domain is always a concern because it's supported and it passed through the Supreme Court. Now, even though you don't plan to use it because of past court action, doesn't mean that you have eliminated that option for other council people who will sit here in the future to make changes there. So if we opt into this program, does that mean that tax dollars that are paid for property taxes will not be spent in these communities?
I would ask you to participate in the dialogue and make sure as we go forward, and I think your points are well taken, to make sure that we are communicating the right information when we contact the residents in the areas that are proposed to be in the new expanded redevelopment. Those are all good questions, good comments. I think today, because we have a full city council meeting coming, and I know we have it on record, that those will be points that we will certainly take into heart and take into planning as we go forward. And so the main thing is what we want to do is proceed on with the discussion with our residents and with our businesses in the redevelopment area. And this is the first day of it today, so everything's going to happen in the future. Having not received that, I'm not quite sure, but I think our Economic and Urban Development Office certainly is aware what went out, when it went out, and why it was in that format rather than another. I think really what we're trying to do is encourage everybody, come out to these meetings when we have them, because overall, when you look at the redevelopment, and in particular in up Martin Luther King Enterprise Park, when I think back to the 60s and the 70s and the early 80s, I mean, the redevelopment, and we are on the right path. We're doing the right thing. So I encourage you to participate, and what I'd like to do, and this will be discussed in the future, and it is all public information. You have questions, please give us a call. And in particular, on specifics to Councilman Barlow, if there's one specific thing that needs an immediate answer, but we're at the beginning today. And so
Mayor?
we encourage you, yes.
Well, number one, I would like to say, because I don't come here to compliment a council. I come here to compliment the community who showed up, okay? Because we weren't given information. So what I'm saying is, you emphasize in this report as well that it's a low economic area, assuming that everyone has computers and are able to access that data.
Many do not.
So if nothing else, I would like to see in the future for further communication that it provides detailed information of the intent and the use and the future uses for our parcels within Project F
I did just ask
specifically.
that, and I
Yeah.
appreciate it. We did hear it. It is a matter of record. And so we appreciate that. This is about us, all of us together.
Right.
So we're really, really grateful for your comments. And thank you. Thank you. Anyone
Hold on.
else?
Mayor, hold on one second, if you don't mind. I would like to ask for Mr. Arndt to come back because, is it Ms. Moody? Was it Ms. Moody?
She represents the
She
Herman Moody
represents
groups.
the Moody. Mr. Arndt, there was one outstanding question that was posed from a property tax standpoint. Can you speak to that? Because you mentioned that. And so her question was, if they choose to opt out, how would that affect their property tax? So I think that's a very valid question.
No, I mean,
What was the?
first of all, the question is if they
Okay.
opt out,
Okay,
okay, for street improvements or anything else that property taxes typically come back to do, are you saying that if they're not in the redevelopment plan, that improvements that normally would be done by a city as its own responsibility not be provided in these red areas? And if you do these improvements, since you're talking about taxes,
correct.
if you do these improvements, how does it affect the homeowner's taxes in the future?
Correct. Mr. Arndt, you had touched on it briefly. I'm not saying to go into the entire detail of the tax question, but what was the comment that you made it as it relates to the property tax? For us to tee that up for a follow-up question once we have the neighborhood meetings.
Thank you, Councilman. Bill Ernst, Economic and Urban Development. I'll answer what I think was the second question about the taxes.
Right.
And then on the first question, maybe we could just touch on D Street and
Okay.
with your leadership and direction, what redevelopment funds have meant to that project, that there's a value add of what we're doing on that. With respect to property taxes, you get your tax bill from the treasurer, to pay your property tax bill. And your property tax bill lists item for item where your money goes that you're paying. The tax liability or the amount of tax that you're paying, whether you're inside the redevelopment area or outside the area, the tax rate is identical. It's identical throughout the city and all the city's redevelopment districts. What changes is where your tax dollar goes. So if you're inside the redevelopment area, a portion of that, your taxes that are paid, come into the redevelopment agency, and then by mandate, we have to reinvest it back into the area. Now, what that means is if you're not in the area, our city and our public works department still have an obligation and a commitment to the city to maintain streets, to do street projects, whether it's sewer replacement, new streets. But oftentimes, those dollars, whether it's city dollars, state or federal, they only stretch so far. And what we've done on D Street is we've added additional money, $600,000, to that project to have a value-add approach. What can we do above and beyond what Public Works would normally do in any community throughout the city? So that means better landscaping, better pedestrian improvements, and maybe at an upcoming meeting, we could kind of go back and look at what that project means and the benefit from redevelopment so that the community can see it. But it means that we have an extra resource to spend that we otherwise wouldn't have to spend.
Right. And as a follow-up, and thank you so very much, and as a follow-up to that, as far as, for example, if someone had 2 or 3 acres of land who opted out and chose to redevelop that land at a later date and look to the city for assistance because their adjacent property owners took advantage of the redevelopment dollars that were available, that particular parcel of land would not be able to receive any injections from the city because they would have opted out of the redevelopment area, correct?
That's generally correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, and please state your name. Good morning.
Good, my name is Curtis Williams. Hey, Mr. Barlow. I have a question. Do we have to pay the grant back if we get it? For like, if we're gonna redo, fix my home up, if not get the grant, do we have to give it money back?
I think it has to do and will have to do with the stipulations in that particular grant. Federal grants are different from state grants, are different from city grants. Up at this point, to my knowledge, those who have, to this point,
Yes, ma'am.
who have received VIP and Quick Start have not had to pay them back.
Okay.
They are matching funds, is correct. Councilman Barlow just reiterated. But more specifically, you know, it's very important as we go forward. Times change, things change. At this point, those grants that we're matching have to be, are not paid back. But it depends on the specific of each grant, what it will be.
Okay, now
So-
I have another question.
Yes.
There's a lot of empty lots that's over there. I ain't got a whole lot of big words to say, but those lots, a lot of them are empty. You say you're gonna redevelop, but what about that? You're gonna put houses and stuff there, or apartment buildings, or what?
I think the thing the city would be behind, and that's a great issue, the more attractive the area becomes, which Enterprise Park has done a huge job there, the more attractive it will be to investors and people who want to develop the areas, be they residents, churches, businesses in the business areas. So the hope is that as our infrastructure goes in place and streets are made more attractive, that people will want to occupy those empty lots right now.
Thank you. I just wanted to say something to
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Thank you. Anyone else, please come forward, state your name.
Good morning. My name is Rose Pearson. I'm representing Second Baptist Church. I'm one of the trustees there. My question is this. We own other properties outside of our church. So does that property fall under the same umbrella as our church? It won't? You shaking your head? So
No, it's
Well,
a question.
I don't understand the question, that's all.
We own,
That's
well,
why I
we
was
own a
shaking my head.
sanctuary, and then we own other properties, but it's all owned by Second Baptist Church. So when you're doing your remodeling and everything, will all of our property fall under the same umbrella as our church, as
I
our
would
sanctuary?
suggest that if in fact the redevelopment extension is approved down the road with all the conversation, and those properties are in the redevelopment new area, they will be eligible, not guaranteed,
Okay.
eligible to make application for those funds.
Okay.
Is
Even
that, could you yes or no that, Ed?
Okay.
Please.
I want to make sure, because some,
Right, absolutely.
The redevelopment plan amendment and the addition for these areas, it ties to the land. So we go parcel by parcel. So if you own a parcel that's shaded red, then it becomes eligible. There are certain conditions. We generally do commercial, not residential. Faith-based, we can do, if they're thrift shops or it's like a charitable effort, a 501c3, we can do that. If it's just the church, unfortunately, these dollars can't be used for that. But if you had land, for instance, in the red that was vacant land that you wanted to develop commercially, whether thrift shop, restaurant, those kind of things, potentially surface parking, we potentially could help.
Eligible. The key to that is eligible, and therefore make an application. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ms. Hart. Anyone else who wishes to be heard? Okay, hearing and seeing none, we will move on to item number 10. I hear you, but I don't see you. Well, that's because I got reading glasses on. And you want to make comment on what we have been speaking about just now? Please come on. Good morning, and please state your name for us.
Good morning, Madam Mayor and council members. My name is Deborah Glass, and I live on Ivy Lane. My question is simple because I'm having a little bit of trouble understanding about the taxes. Now, my question is, you have a lot of people who live on limited income in this area. Our taxes will be increased so that this money will be used for the redevelopment in our area. Now, is it, I had spoke to someone in the redevelopment area last week, and I had asked about this, and my understanding is that we will have, as the areas are improved, the taxes will be increased. This money will go to help development stores like in the Edmond Town Center. So my question is, how much is our taxes going to be increased to be going for this redevelopment program? Because my understanding is that the money has to be increased so that you will have the money to use for the redevelopment.
No, the way in which it works is for all new development, all brand new development that basically comes in and they start to pay property taxes, those taxes that are generated through new developments, such as the developments that are taking place here in downtown, all the monies that are the new money as of 2013, all of the new money moving forward, once you're inside of the redevelopment area, existing and the proposed, which we're here talking about the proposed expansion, all monies that are generated is recaptured, and those new monies will have an opportunity to be spread out across all those parcels that are within the boundaries of the redevelopment area. Your taxes will not increase. The only way your taxes increase is the taxes across the county increases, but everyone's taxes will either go up or taxes will go down as a body, not because you're in the redevelopment area or outside of the redevelopment area. Everything remains balanced, but it's all new taxes that are generated within the redevelopment area. It's captured, and those monies have to be utilized inside of the redevelopment area. Mr. Arndt, did I explain that?
Councilman, that's a great explanation. The tax rate is the same inside redevelopment and outside. So the tax rate, it's, I believe, about $3.27 per $100 of assessed valuation. Exactly the same. So if you're inside the redevelopment area, you'll pull up your tax bill when you get it from the treasurer, and it'll say tax district 203, 206, 207, or 212. Exactly the same, that rate. What tax you pay is determined by the assessor when they appraise your property. So if the value of your property does not increase or decrease, as the councilman was explaining, your tax bill will remain exactly the same. The only way your tax bill would go up is if the assessor, not the city, not the redevelopment agency, the assessor determines that the value of your property went up, or if you built something. If you had a vacant piece of land and you built a building, they would tax not just the land but the improvements. So that's really driven by the assessor and their process, not by us. Where we get our money is mainly from new development. So if there's no new development, no new buildings, no new construction, our budget for a redevelopment agency, we don't get new taxes because properties, they may go up and down like the councilman's indicating, but that appreciation property is small. We're relying on new development. So we want to see new development in the area, whether it's the downtown and new offices or in the community with no retail shops. That's how we're successful. If we get new development, then we'll have money to reinvest. If we don't, then our budgets will be flat. We won't have money to reinvest.
Thank you, Mr. Arndt. And I would ask again, please, this is all part of the process going forward, and that's where the questions need to be. We appreciate your coming down. Do keep an eye or call Councilman Barlow's office to find out that you've got the right date and when the meeting's going to be, so you can ask these specific questions. That's really where they need to be in the conversations going forward. And we're excited that so many of you are so interested in this, and it just touches on about this much of the residential and business people that are involved here. So we're excited that you're interested, and we will go on in these conversations and put them there.
Okay, I'm
Thank
very
you.
grateful for your time.
Thank you.
Thank
you so much for coming down and caring enough about the city.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else here?
Hello, how you doing this morning, officer?
Good morning.
My main concern is, my name is Selena Hamilton. I own a lot of properties on the west side, and I understand you guys want to fix up the west side, with smaller businesses, bigger businesses. I'm looking into the same thing myself. But also, in these small and bigger businesses, and people that are elderly and, you know, our money is not so great, and you guys want to match it, the monies to help us build up our properties and make our properties nice, but it's still a lot of downfall in the West community.
Yes.
How are you going to make houses and all of that stuff where people would come into our community to want to spend money in the community like it is now, to help it? You see what I'm saying?
Yes, and that's exactly what this is all about. So we're excited and hope you will come to the meetings too, because it is the involvement of the residents and the business owners that's going to make every area better. So we appreciate your coming, and it's Lena Hamilton.
Selena.
Selena.
Yes.
Oh, you're named after a wonderful singer. And maybe she's was named after you.
No.
Anyway, we certainly, please come to these meetings and stay in touch with the council. They will give you dates to make sure you have them. So call any of us, and thank you really very much. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? All right, we'll move on to item 10 here. This is citizen participation. Public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters within the jurisdiction. The Redevelopment Agency. No subject may be acted upon by the Redevelopment Agency unless the subject's on the agenda and is scheduled for action. If you wish to be heard, come to the podium and give your name for the record. The amount of discussion on any single subject, as well as the amount of time any single speaker is allowed, will be limited to 1 minute. Is there anyone wishing to speak under this general portion of the agenda? Please state your name. Good morning.
My name is Anthony Hardis, and I know you got a pretty busy day, Mayor. And I'm only here for one hot second. The last statement I made down here was about brick and mortar. You know, over the years I made many quotations that has been all over, you know. But the last one I made was brick and mortar. But I was only doing that about the little businesses that couldn't move when you had those trucks, that food truck moving around. So I kind of used it as a separation. Now the gaming board has told the big old casinos out there on the strip, since they can't move, but it's going to give them, you know, certain whatever online. Anyway, what I'm just saying, certain statements I make seem to go all over the place. And I'm very proud of it, and I'm trying to get all my things together that I've did over the years, and one of the people that will receive so much from is going to be Shade Tree. Shade Tree, when I came here 40-something years ago, with that little bitty thing on the corner of Owens and Main, and it had that little name and said Shade Tree. It's kind of cute, the statement, you know, but it meant so much. It was for battered women and children. And so, hey, that's one of my pet peeves. That and veterans, and those are the things that I'm trying to look out for.
Thank you.
Try to leave a little something for my wife, too. Maybe get her a get her a better car or whatever. But
thank you. Mr. Arndt?
Mayor, for the record, Bill Arndt, City of Las Vegas. With your indulgence, I'd like you to reopen the public hearing in item 9. We're actually looking for not only holding the public hearing, but actually looking to the board of the Redevelopment Agency to take a specific action that's recommended by staff.
Okay.
I think procedurally what we need to do is find out if there's any more public participation under item 10. If there is, then close item 10, then take a motion to reconsider. Or you didn't even take a motion on item 9.
We had
so
no
just
motion,
revisit
no
them.
vote on item 9. So what are you advising at this point? Finish up. Anyone else on item 10 that wishes to come forward to speak on any item germane to today's agenda, please come forward and state your name. Okay, hearing none, we will go back. Now we go back to item 9, which was not a vote or a motion.
Right, if I'm reading
a little
item
confused
9
here.
correctly, it just says public hearing regarding the proposed amendment. It is not an action item.
Correct. It was not an action item. It was just, we are moving into discussion on redevelopment expansion.
Mayor, I've asked Chief Deputy City Attorney Terry Ponticello to come
Oh,
forward.
I love this attorney versus
There's a little bit
attorney.
of disconnect, and maybe I'm mistaken, but
Okay.
if we're not able to take action today, we might need to bring this item back forward to direct it to the Planning Commission. So
I will ask
direct it to
Ms.
council.
Ponticello, after she states her name, to have her dialogue with Mr. Jervik on this, please. I think it's out of our hands.
Chief Deputy Terry Ponticello.
Okay, so
The action that's before you
it'll go
today
to
that we're
Planning
doing
Commission.
pursuant to NRS
No action.
279 requires that we have this public hearing, and at the close of the public hearing, that this now gets, the agency recommends that this goes forward to the Planning Commission. So it's really just a recommendation that it goes forward to the Planning Commission for their review. That's what it is.
I appreciate that, but we're not agendaed for a vote.
Okay. If it's just a
Thank you.
recommendation, it just goes forward. So it's not
Thank
an
you.
action, it just will go forward from here.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. You know, I love it, Mr. Arndt. Always turn to the attorneys and then just step back and let them have at it. Yes.
Your Honor. Thank
Mr.
you.
Coffin,
You know, I
Councilman
think
Coffin.
people expect some sort of expression of opinion from us on these things so that they don't just seem to move in kind of a mysterious way, depending on how things are posted. And, and I don't want to burden you with suddenly saying we got to have to repost this because I want to vote. No, I think we just want to say that I've been involved in this redevelopment action since 1983 at the legislature, and then in 85 when we finally were able to pass the bill to enable the city of Las Vegas to start the ball rolling. So I approve of this process. I approved of it then, and I approve of it now. And I think I don't have to cast a vote to say that I am convinced this is good for Ward 3. And although most of the people here spoke for Ward 5, I think Ward 3 is going to enjoy this. And I think, the 7 people on the Supreme Court are kind of a little bit, when they're in court, they're dressed a little bit like the nuns I had in Catholic school. And they slapped the city with a 3-sided ruler real hard a long time ago about the initial powers that were granted by the law of 1985. So all those problems with tax and all those problems with eminent domain have pretty much been solved. And so I'm going to say that my own opinion is I really believe we should forward this to the Planning Commission for further work. That's probably as
Thank
strong
you
as we
very
can go,
much.
but we should express our opinion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now move on to item number 11. Thank you very much. Agency member recognition. Comments made by individual agency members during this portion of the agenda will not be acted upon by the agency unless that subject is on the agenda and scheduled for action. Any member of the redevelopment agency who wishes to speak under this portion of the agenda? Any other comments? Are you alive? Okay. Hearing none, this redevelopment agency is adjourned, and we will start our city council meeting